Hi, I'm Trish Cole, co-host of Rain Shadow Living, your guide to Port Townsend, Sequim, and the Peninsula, where small town charm meets big inspiration.
And I'm Ginny Erickson, a realtor with Windermere Port Townsend. And together we welcome you to this podcast where we explore the people and places and all the magical things that make this region so wonderful.
And today we're taking you behind the scenes of one of the most beloved festivals in the Pacific Northwest, the Sequim Lavender Festival. Whether you're a longtime fan or planning your first visit, this episode is for you.
And we're really, really fortunate to have our special guest, Kelly Erie. Did I say that correctly, Kelly?
You did. Thanks.
Awesome.
Good to be here.
Yeah. So Kelly is the director of the Sequim Lavender Festival. And Kelly, tell us what that's all about.
Yeah. So this will be my fifth year going into doing the Lavender Festival as fourth year as the director. My friend ran the festival pre-COVID, and then after COVID hit, the festival kind of went into a lull, and she ended up getting a different job, and we wanted to bring the festival back on. So they found me and pulled me in. So I'm in that regard relatively new to the history of the festival. It's our 29th year. So we're looking forward to like next year being the 30th. We're going to go crazy. This year, we've got new events that are happening. We have an activities tent that we're going to be doing hands-on activities for all of the different age groups. Each farm is taking a slot, and they'll show you how to do everything from making lavender wands to painting fun pictures to doing flower pressing, all kinds of good stuff there. We have a full list of live music that's going to be playing. Some of our oldies but goodies bands are returning. Our food court is expanding a little bit. We have over 150 different vendors with handmade goods that are coming. And the festival, so when I say the festival, I'm thinking like the festival at Carrie Blake Park, which is only one aspect of the greater Lavender Week. So my jurisdiction really falls from the Friday through the Sunday at Carrie Blake Park. And it's more of like what towns would think of as like a county fair, just like times 10. We don't have any rides, but there are a lot of lavender stuff, a lot of fun things to go and explore. We do have some face painting and some fun, like full family activities. And then there's the Greater Lavender Week that encompasses all of Sequim and the greater area. And that's each of the individual farms put on various events. Each farm is independently owned and operated, so everybody's going to be a little different based on their locations around the community. You'll have fields of lavender versus just really super good cultivated, maybe a smaller acre of lavender, but then really neat mom and pop shop type stuff that you can purchase and things that are super unique to that particular farm. So it's always really fun to come during the Lavender Week. So that's it in a nutshell.
A nutshell, I love it. I like the addition of the hands-on. That's a really cool idea. I haven't been, I mean, I've been to the festival quite a few times, but they didn't have anything similar to that in the past, have they?
No, it's a brand new thing. Now that so I like to always look for ways to improve events, and being that I've done this for a couple of years, that was one of the things that me and my team were looking at, of like what ways can we expand this. I love kids, and so I'm always looking for ways to get kids more involved. And this was one of the ways that we decided we can get families to come and hang out and actually have a hands-on activity for those little kids who are tired of just looking at things to not buy that they get their parents to buy, and then they need some outlet for all that energy. So that's really where that idea came from. And then it gets the farms more interactive with the client or with the guests as well. So they can have, like I said, they'll make something simple like little lavender wands, or they can get really elaborate with coloring pictures like that. That we do have some other things. I think they're making wreaths, and they're showing you like education on how the essential oils are made. So it's a whole gamut of things.
Wow.
Each farm is, like I said, taking a
Very
slot,
cool.
and yeah, it's going to be really neat. We're really excited to see how it shakes out this year.
So our podcast is for people, a lot of people who are from out of the area, who are interested in the area. So tell us a little bit about the logistics. Like, when is it? What are the best hours to come? When is the best time to come? What is traffic like when you're approaching
Yeah.
Sequim? How far ahead do you need to book if you need a hotel room? So I know that's a lot of questions, but
Yeah.
if we could cover logistics, that'd be awesome.
Yep. So here is the logistics. In Sequim, it's not Sequim, it's Sequim, Washington, which is about 2 hours out of Seattle. You can either drive around the water or get a ferry. The biggest word you want to think about for not just the weekend, which I'll talk about dates in a second, but the entire Lavender Week, which is more or less the first 2 weeks in July, is just patience. Have a lot of patience. The traffic gets awful. It doesn't matter where you are. But if you are trying to come into Sequim, expect it's supposed to take like 2 hours to get from Seattle to Sequim. Truly expect like 4 hours to get into Sequim. If you are leaving Sequim at sunset, expect to put in an extra hour and a half on your journey getting out. And this is going east, so east and west is getting in and out. If the sun is up and you're trying to come into Sequim, you and along with 30 other thousand people are going to try to come into Sequim. So just give yourself grace, let yourself know that you're on vacation, you have no rush, you're enjoying lavender fields on the way driving into Sequim. Logistically, the dates for the festival in the park are July 18th, 19th, and 20th. That's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday and Saturday, the hours are from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday night from 5 p.m. until, no, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. It's 9 to 7. So I'll let you guys break a second. So the hours are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday, Saturday, it's 9 to 7. Saturday night, we have an after day concert kind of thing. So from 7 to 9, we have Black Diamond Junction, which is a local rock band, and they come out and people dance and they stay way later than we should because I'm exhausted from being there all day. But it's super, super fun. Some of the vendors will still be open. Some of the food vendors stay open a little later too. And it's just an awesome party that people come to. And then Sunday is from 9 to 5. There's really no better or worse day to show up whenever you guys want to, or whenever people want to show up. There will be things to do and stuff to buy. Logistically, as far as getting hotels and Airbnbs, now is the time to book. Many people book a year or two out. The Lavender Festival is always the third full weekend in February or July. So your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, full weekend in July, which tends to be around the 18th or the 15th, depending on where the dates fall. But it does get very booked very quickly. Historically, Sequim is about a 7,000, I just spaced on what I was saying, unit, 7,000 people population. The weekend of the Lavender Festival, it gets to like 35 or 40. So it brings in a lot of people. So it's hard to find a place to stay at times. So if you have a friend or family member, definitely take advantage of that. If you're willing to camp, it's beautiful that time of year. So you can get really great campsites. If you have an RV, even better. The Sequim Festival is dog friendly. So as long as your dog is on a leash, you can bring your little furry friend. And we even have water spots at the info booths. And many of the other vendors will have like dog treats or something for your little furry pal. So that's kind of the logistics of it. But yeah, plan in advance. Make sure realize you're on vacation. You have no place to get to in a hurry. Enjoy the traffic. There will be lavender farms on the way in. And then as far as booking in advance, you should start booking now.
Why
So
is
it's not too late.
lavender such a defining part of the Sequim identity? I mean, like, I know I read in one of the hotels that we're one of the largest producing areas of lavender.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea on the history of that and how it got
Yeah.
started?
Yeah, so we're in a really unique geographical location. Most people think it's like wet Washington. Like Washington is always wet, it's always raining. And that is mostly true, except for Sequim. We lovingly call it the blue hole. And I've lived in Sequim for 8 years, and I'm not kidding. I can stand outside on my porch and look to the east and see Port Townsend, and it's like blowing and really bad weather. And then I look to the west and I see Port Angeles, and it's pouring buckets of rain, and I look to the south and I see the Olympic mountain range, and you can't even see the tops of them. And then I look straight up and it's clear blue skies, a light breeze. Like the geographical location of Sequim is such that it just takes all of our weather circuits and moves it to every other town except Sequim. And while that is why that's good for lavender, is that lavender really likes not well, I guess it's a temperate climate with a lot of sun, not a lot of rain, and really rocky soil. And that is Sequim. So Sequim has a ton of rocky soil. We call it the Sequim potatoes. And it's literally just rocks. Like our backyard is nothing but rock. We tried to, well, I'm going to the stories. There's a lot of rocks in Sequim. And
On
so
another day.
yeah, for another day. But lavender just thrives in this environment because it's everything that it needs to have. It's also relatively easy to cultivate. It grows back pretty quickly. Well, no, I should say it grows back relatively easy compared to other flowering crops. And then the fact that you can do so much with it, we have vendors who make lavender ice cream, lavender lemonade. You can use it as a frosting enhancement. So you've got all of your goodies and cupcakes and things like that. Then you have the therapeutic side of it. So you've got the essential oils, the lotions, the bath salts, all of your homeopathic stuff. Lavender is very easy and a little bit goes a long way. And so for all of that reason, because our climate is so conducive to growing of lavender and lavender is so easy to integrate into your daily life, it's made it this explosive crop. And so it was in the 90s that this festival began, and it was really a way of making sure the farmers still were able to keep their farmlands because agriculture was going through a whole upheaval during the 90s. So this was a way that Sequim was like, okay, we're going to make ourselves like a point of interest on the map. And that's where the lavender really took off. And they used that as a way of just saying, hey, we've got this awesome capital of, I think the Sequim is called the lavender capital of the world, which I don't know if that's like, I haven't fact checked that, which is kind of the nickname. But yeah, that's why it works so well here in Sequim. And we really have like the whole community has kind of rallied around lavender because it's what's kept Sequim going for so many years.
That's
How
great.
many lavender farms are there? Do you know?
Lots. we have
Lots.
we have 8. I was like lots. There's 8 that's going to be at the festival, and that's literally at Carrie Blake Park. I believe so. The festival is put on by the Sequim Lavender Growers Association, and I believe there's 15 farms in that organization, and you don't have to be a part of that organization. I would surmise a rough guess because I did not look that number up. Somewhere around 30 different farms in this area, and they range from a few acres to like tens of acres. So it really is the whole gambit.
And there's music all day, isn't there, at Carrie Blake Park? If I remember correctly, you have scheduled musicians
Yeah.
throughout the day for people to listen to. So not
Yep.
just go to the booths, but you can also sit and get entertained as well, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All day, every day. They start at 11 o'clock and they go the entire rest of the day, all the way to the end. It's live music on a rotation every about 45 minutes. And then there's a quick little intermission for the next band to show up. No matter where you are in the park, you'll be able to hear it. So you can sit down in front of the chairs that we provide and listen to live music. You can dance because there's cement there, so you don't have to worry about twisting an ankle, depending on your dance moves. You can also go do your shopping and explore and talk to other vendors and still be able to enjoy the music during the festival.
You need to get tickets for these shows ahead of time?
No, that's a great question. It's a free event. We do offer parking for free. The only thing you'll have to pay for is what you buy from the vendors, and that's the great thing is there's no charge, no tickets needed. Most of the farms, like 95% of the farms, are also free of charge. There are a few farms, and you can either go to lavenderfestival.com or the cityofsequim.org, and they have the list of farms that say which ones offer free visits and which ones require a fee. The fees, I think, are like $5 or less. And that's generally because there's some awesome event that's happening that they're paying a vendor to show up for. And this is how they do it.
And so if you had never been to the festival before, what advice would you give them? Is there an information place they could stop first? How would they set up their itinerary and know what's going on?
Yeah. So if you don't want to fight all of the traffic, you can go to the Sequim Chamber of Commerce, which is just on the outside of town as you're coming in from Seattle. And they will have brochures there. And that's if you want to see the individual farms. And we actually create a guided tour that's a self-guided tour where you can see all of the farms in the area and have a little driving guide. So you can hit, 12 or 15 of the farms without having to get off of any major roads. And it tends to keep traffic flowing. So you're a little bit speedier in doing that. If you're more of a shopaholic and you want to like taste and touch and smell all of the foods and goods, then you can come to Carrie Blake Park. There are plenty of signs as soon as you get into Sequim that direct you exactly where you need to go. And we have attendants there to help you park. If our parking lot is full, we will direct you to where to park in the nearby area. Wear good walking shoes if you want to come to the park, because it is quite large and you will be walking a lot. We do have restrooms in the sense of porta potties. There's food available, like I said, and there's lots of shopping to do. And that is where the live music is. And a lot of people love to go there. If you have little kids and they're getting exhausted, on the other side of where the festival is, there's also a local kids park and a dog park. Again, traffic will be a lot and parking will be limited, but we will do the best we can to get you seated and enjoying the area as quickly as possible.
I know I've had friends come on one day and stay overnight and enjoy some of the fabulous restaurants that Sequim has to offer. And then they might go to like Port Townsend or Port Angeles the next day and enjoy some of the, fun things to do there too. So it's kind of a fun way to just get to the peninsula and enjoy some of the businesses and the fair. It depends on how much energy you have to last throughout the whole day though. But they did the whole Carrie Blake event and enjoyed some of the musicians, and then went on tour at some of the farms, and then went out to dinner at a fabulous restaurant. And I think the next day they went to Port Townsend and enjoyed shopping in Port Townsend. So
yeah, that's awesome. If you're going to do that, I'd say for traffic wise, try to go against traffic. So most of the traffic stops in Sequim. So if you want to go to Port Angeles, then if you're going, from Sequim to PA, try to leave sometime after 10, and you should miss all of that morning traffic of people going to the park. And then if you're coming back, try to come back before, well, actually, thankfully, coming from Port Angeles to Sequim is actually not too bad. It's really going from Sequim down to Seattle that gets really bad during that weekend.
Yeah, exactly. So do you have any fond memories or funny stories of things that have happened or wonderful things that have happened at the Lavender Fest?
Let me think of things that I can actually share. Yes.
Legal things.
What happens at the Lavender Fest stays at the Lavender Fest?
Some of the stuff what happens there stays there. You have to be, on staff to learn some of this stuff. But one of the really fun things we had is, like I said, I really have fun with kids. I ran the kids ministry at my church for a while, and several of the families show up at the Lavender Festival, and they've got kids like 8 years old, give or take a couple of years. And they'd seek me out while I was, walking around. Well, one of my buddies had just purchased a yellow Dodge Charger that looked like Bumblebee from the Transformers. And I'm pretty sure it was a Dodge Charger. So the boys, like the little boys, were totally enamored with this car. And so we got them to get into the vehicle. And it was one of the staff members at the Lavender Festival, and they drove the kids around in it. And the kids were just like, "What are you, Transformers?" So that was really fun. Not really Lavender related, but that was like my first memory that I thought of. Was great for that. Some fun things that I get to do at the Lavender Festival that I always enjoy. And this is I tell people I'm a tall 12-year-old because I just love it's the little things in life. The very first event that occurs, it's at 11 o'clock on Friday, is the Chamber of Commerce and the irrigation royalty and a bunch of, powers that be show up, and we get to cut the ribbon and inaugurate that year's Lavender Festival. And they give me the scissors. And I think it is so fun to have these ginormous scissors to cut the ribbon. So that one's really cool. I've made some good friends with the vendors over the years because I've been doing this for a time, and it's always really fun to see the fun little stories that happen when things kind of go sideways and you're trying to hold it all together while also dealing with an event that has occurred. So there was one, I'm trying to think of which story to tell you of all of the vendors that have had good events and bad events. There was one vendor who sells different types of chocolates, and they had kind of pulled a small prank on me at the beginning of the weekend. And I was like, okay, see how this goes. So at the end of the festival, we're wrapping everything up, and they have a lot of gear. They bring a ton of gear to the festival. And so we have the Boy Scouts or the Scouts that help us out during the festival, and they had a little pull wagon. And so I was like, well, hey, why don't we throw you a bone? We'll let you use the pull wagon. And And then you can just take all of your stuff from the grass section across the field to your car, and we'll help you, load out. And he's like, oh, cool, thanks. Mind you, he had pulled a prank on me earlier. And so I was trying to find a way to get him back. So I let him do his thing. I leave and go check on some other, things that I need to work on. I come back about 45 minutes later and he doesn't have the cart. And I was like, hey, you remember that pull cart? Where's the pull cart? And he like blanched. She's like, what do you mean, where's the pull cart? Like, the scouts took it. What do you mean? And so I was like, no, you're good. Like, we found it. But it was a fun little like prank that I got to pull on him for that. Getting him back for what he had done for me earlier.
Perfect.
Last minute prank.
Yeah, this was a last minute, literally like the 9th hour or the 12th, 11th hour, however that phrase goes. Trying to think of some other really fun stories. We had this little dog that somebody brought that was like a 9-month-old corgi. And that one was you could literally stand on the stage and see where the dog was, depending on the like crowd of people that was following this one guest that had come to the park. So, like I said, it's a dog friendly area. And if you bring a really cute dog, just again, all caps patience, have some patience as you walk through with really cute animals, because Sequim is a very dog loving town and everybody wants to pet your dog. So that was really fun to watch. Just the whole culture of all of the guests get enamored with this one little puppy.
Maybe you need to have a pet parade one year with
Yeah.
lavender
That's a good
costumes.
idea. That's a great idea. We'll get the pet parade. That's
Yeah.
actually not a bad idea at all.
Yeah.
Pet parade.
Very fun.
I
Cool.
know one of the things I really enjoy about going to events at Carrie Blake Park is the park itself. And I
Mm-hmm.
love the way that the festival incorporates the botanical garden and the water and just everything. So you can enjoy the park as well as all the events that are going on in their shade and their sun, because
Yep.
it can get very warm. But do
Yes.
you want to speak to that a little bit about kind of
Yeah. So we
your
do
thoughts
have
on that when you're arranging the
yep.
festival?
We actually, every year I'm trying to make the map a little bit better. And when you show up, you'll see this giant vendor map. And that's what I'm literally relating to is, which I've been redesigning it over the years, section by section. This year we are incorporating more umbrellas that are just kind of standalone umbrellas, in the food
Oh,
court
good.
area for that reason. We're even looking at just throwing up some tents, that have no walls and they're just literal shade, for guests that want to come and bring like a picnic, and then they can just, lay out and enjoy the evening air without being burnt on. But you're right. So the festival in the park, if you were to do an aerial view of the map, just to the southwest side of the whole event is the Friendship Garden. And my husband and I love to walk that garden from time to time throughout the year. And during the festival, it's like exploding with flowers. It's a really easy, all paved or, easy to walk on area. That you can go and explore. And it's mostly shaded, mostly just natural shade with different willows and trees and vines and things. And then in the park itself, there's a line of trees that about midway through the day cast a pretty long shadow. So there's also shade there. The botanical gardens, we actually set up vendors directly in front of it for kind of a
Oh,
picturesque
nice.
scene that we like. And we do have to put the porta potties in that general area strictly because it is the only flat surface that we have in the park. So we try to keep those kind of out of the way, but just make sure that your back is to those, and then you'll have this beautiful view of all of the flowers, the city, and the I'm spacing on the group name. There's a particular group that takes care of those flowers throughout the year, and they do a phenomenal job. And so everyone's really excited about all the flowers that you can see everywhere. And then there is a really big lake over on the other side of the festival by like the 100 section that keeps everything kind of cool as well. So like in the evening when the breeze starts coming, it runs over that water and kind of cools things down a little bit. So that's sort of the topography of the area. And then, like I said, on the other side of Carrie Blake Park, there's an actual like kids playground. And there's it's called the Guy Cole Center, and that's another event facility. Just for references, if you're trying to Google it, you look up the Guy Cole Center, then you'll find that, and it's got a kids playground and a dog park there. And then there's also like pickleball courts as well. So there's a lot of stuff to do with that area.
There's so many activities going on in the summertime. So for people who are listening, and let's say they're planning their trip to the Olympic Peninsula, they're planning to check out, the rain shadow, they're planning to come here, um, why should they come during Lavender Festival? Um, who is this? You mentioned it was like a county fair, right?
Mhm.
So, as they're planning their summer activities, why should the Lavender Festival be at the top of the list?
So that's a great question. The Lavender Festival garners a lot of interest from everybody who is an outdoor, like crunchy, to those that want to just stay inside and go hunting or watch TV the whole day. Like one of the great things about that time of year in Sequim is the weather is almost perfect, like from sun up to sundown every day, all day. And from sun up to sundown in Sequim, Washington is about 4:30 in the morning till about 10:30 at night. So you have a lot of daylight hours. So you can really take advantage of the area. There's also this energy that happens throughout the whole area. Everyone's really excited, like the festival, because it brings in people from all four corners of the world. You have a lot of conversations about where you're from, and then it's crazy to see how many people like the joke is, so I call myself, an immigrant of Sequim. Like I grew up out of state and then moved here 8 years ago. So you either have that, or you have people who have lived here for like four generations. And that seems to be the only two types of people. You either moved here within the last 10 years, or you've lived here for like, generations. And so you get this really cool ability to have people come in with different perspectives and then meet those who can tell you like, oh, this street used to be a dirt road when my grandfather was around, and have so the fun thing about having those conversations is literally this time of year when you bring in all the tourists and you get this like renewed sensation of the history and the plethora of growth that Sequim has been through. You get to try all kinds of great foods. Everyone's putting out their best foot forward for everyone that's exploring the area. And you can do everything. Like if you are an outdoors person, you can be outdoors from sunup to sundown every day of the week. And you've got all of the Olympic mountain range to explore. You've got trails through Sequim. There's the Olympic Discovery Trail, which literally could take you from Port Townsend all the way up to, I think, Forks, actually, which is like the far tip of the country. And you could just walk that if you wanted to take a week to do that. And then again, all of the lavender stuff that comes around, you get to try stuff that you never would have considered, like lavender ice cream. I never really thought that was a thing, and it's actually really good. Lavender lemonade. I'm not a big lavender or lemonade fan, but with lavender in it, it makes it really good. All the coffee shops, if you're a coffee snob, every single coffee shop in the area, and there's a lot. If you've never been to the Pacific Northwest, just in general, the Pacific Northwest is known for their coffees. There's like Starbucks can't survive around here because there's so many different coffee shops. And everybody has their own twist on what their lavender latte is. So there's a lot of fun things to explore. If you go to vacations because you like to explore and try new things, you've got that option here. If you go on vacation because you like getting outdoors and getting, a good sweat on and exploring the great outdoors, we've got that too. If you want to go hunting and fishing, probably wait until later in the season because there's not going to be much going on with the amount of foot traffic. But people watchers, you got lots of opportunities for people watching around this time of year. So that's why I would say you should come during the festival.
And I'm an import, so I haven't lived here for more than 10 years. One of my favorite things to do is watch the sunset on Klein Spit. So that's a great way to end the day if you
Yes.
pick up one of those lavender ice creams and go to Klein Spit if you can find a parking spot.
If you can find a yeah.
Literally watch the sunset and see the green glow at the end of the day. It's just beautiful.
It's awesome.
So Kelly, is there something that we haven't asked you about the Lavender Fest that you think we should be asking you about?
I think we covered all the bases. There's the live music, most of the stuff, the traffic, we got all that covered. I'm really excited this festival season where we've made some changes that I think is going to make it a lot easier for people to go through the festival in the park. And just literally be able to walk. We're incorporating what we're calling the lavender lane. So think of sort of like a yellow brick road concept, but with lavender. No, I'm not going to brick the entire park. It's not what we're doing. But every year I feel like the festival gets just one notch better, and I'm really excited to see how this year shakes out. But yeah, so it's January. No, it's not. It's July 18th, 19th, and 20th. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday, Saturday from 9 to 7, Sunday from 9 to 5.
Could you remind us again what the website is if they wanted to check it out online?
Yeah, you want to go to lavenderfestival.com. I always say Sequim Lavender Festival. It's just lavenderfestival.com. If you know how to spell Sequim, you can just Google Sequim Lavender Festival and it'll be the first link that pops up.
Well, Kelly, thank you so much for your
Yeah, of course.
time and for this incredible peek behind the purple curtain.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me on.
It's a beautiful example of what makes our community so special. Whether you come for the lavender or stay for the music, food, and fun, you'll leave with a deeper love of Sequim and the peninsula. And be sure to subscribe to Range Out of Living for more stories and insider tips from around the Olympic Peninsula.
And be sure to join us next time. We broadcast the first Friday of every month. So please tune in and please subscribe. And in the meantime, we'll see you at the Lavender Fest.